And to fight against that, curiously, the human brain is doing exactly the same thing as a policeman. When there are too many cars coming inside the highway cannot handle more than a given number of cars per minute. So if you have an input which is greater than that, the highway gets stuck, and there is no help to that. The only possibility is to reduce some of the entries. It's what does the people in charge of the control of the circulation. They block some of the entries so that the flow can still run. Now we do the same. And you will recognize that there is something which does not go fast enough inside the brain at the very simple phenomenon that the person keep the mouth open, the tongue outside, and maybe a little saliva going out. But this thing, which is so typical of a feeble-minded, it's exactly what we do. When you use all your intellectual power to admire a marvelous things, you are just like that. And if an artist is drawing the most delicate point, the most delicate line, he is having the tongue between the teeth, and sometimes he has some saliva going out. That means that even normal people cannot do many things at the same time. And they have to close some of the entry of the highways. And just, don't think about closing the mouth, which is a voluntary phenomenon. I have to look at that. It's more important than keeping my mouth closed. So that when we are dealing with mentally retarded person, it's no good to tell them, shut your mouth. Because they would do it, because they are very kind people. But they will only think that I have to close my mouth, and I prefer that they are thinking about what is going around than just thinking that they have to close their mouth. In fact, we come to the feeling that what makes the depth of the reflection is the possibility we have to make, so to speak, a promenade in this enormous track which is inside our brain case, and being able to visit some specialist. One is a linguist, the other is a painter, the other is a musician, the other is a sociologist, the other is a rationalist, and we are like a kind of monarch who has a kind of counselors around him, and if we are healthy, we listen to that counselor, then we tell him shut down, and we listen to the other one, and we are just behaving as a normal king should do when he has intelligent counselors. But if one of them is speaking all the time, if one of them refuses to answer, then you have all the typical diseases of the mind, all that will classify in psychiatry. Well, nevertheless, even when we are really in good health, and having your intelligence working very well, there is still something which I touched upon yesterday, that is a basic failure of our nature. We have difficulty to speak inside ourselves, between our feeling and our reasoning, between the heart and the reason. And that is so typical that there is only one way we can go out of the difficulty, which is sometime to have a kind of state of grace in which you can together feel and understand. Some people call it meditation, others call it pride, we know that if we don't use that particularity of our intelligence, we are not intelligent at all. I'm sorry, but that's the end.